Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I was right again. It's not hard. It wasn't hard at all. I didn't sweat it. And remember when I said it on multiple occasions that Russia is not fighting in Ukraine seriously, like hard enough. And I said maybe it uses between, 3 to 7%, maybe 7% of its own, maybe 5% of how much it has the potential to use. I had some friends commenting on that, saying that no, actually it's this, and how can you need a lot of food for about 600,000 people and resources. It's true, that's true. But I was talking about the potential. I'm talking about the weapons that they use, the quantity, and the potential of human resources, which is about 30 million people that they could tomorrow bring to front if they want. General mobilization would yield about 30 million, not 600,000 people. Now, Business Insider confirms it. So I'm gonna just celebrate a little bit with this French beer called Guinness. Just kidding. It was a joke. Norok, cheers, kampai, prosit, prost, whatever. So, yes, we have Business Insider. So the Americans are telling us that actually Russia is fighting this just with this amount of resources. And the reason that I gave was because Russia doesn't want to rock the boat. And mostly the people who fight in Ukraine are not really the Russian military per se. Are mercenaries, are volunteers, are people from the breakaway republics, Ukrainian republics, or whatever, how we're going to call them. Provinces, Luhansk, Donetsk, and so on. And why? So they don't rock the boat economically and socially in Russia per se. So let's go to this little article. It doesn't mean that if these guys confirm what I said is necessarily true. But these guys are going to bring numbers. I didn't bring numbers. I brought just some percentages based on my personal assessment, knowing other numbers. I don't know exactly how much they spend. But I said, well, according to this, I don't think they use much. And look at this. Market Insider, Business Insider. This is from June 1st, 2023. Russia is spending surprisingly little on its war on Ukraine. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has cost Moscow a small amount by historical standards, per The Economist. So the economists must know. They're the experts and the analysts. Russia's spending remains opaque, but its war budget is about 3% of GDP. By comparison, the Soviet Union spent 61% of GDP in World War II. Got that? That was during the war. That's how much money they put into the war. 61% of its GDP. Now with that means you get a lot of resources from citizens, that you're going to have shortages. Russia doesn't have shortages because of this, 3%. Thank you very much. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has come at a steep geopolitical price, and tens of thousands of people have died, but a newly analysis by The Economist suggests the country is actually spending a small amount on the war effort. Thank you very much. The direct fiscal cost of the war, spending on soldiers and machines, is estimated to be about 3% of Russia's GDP, or roughly $67 billion a year, according to their report. The figure comes from a comparison of Moscow pre-invasion spending forecasts for defense and security with what it actually spent. By historical standards, the current war pales in comparison. The Soviet Union during World War II, for example, spent about 61% of the GDP, and the US at the same time put about 50% of its GDP towards the conflict. However, 3% is substantially higher than the 0.4% of GDP the Soviet Union spent on its war on Afghanistan. So it's more than that, but in Afghanistan, they fought the Mujahideen and the Americans a little bit, and here they fight the whole NATO and extra. What the hell is that? One reason for the relatively low spending on Ukraine is political, as the government has repeatedly called the war a special military operation, which could preclude using an exorbitant percentage of the GDP. There are also economic reasons. Printing additional cash to fund the war would push inflation higher and weight on Russian citizens. What the hell? I don't have a PhD in economics, and this was obvious, all this. And remember, when the Russians started the invasion, the whatever you want to call it, operation, the economists in the West expected by their calculations that the ruble, the currency, the Russian currency, would fall in 48 hours, going to be done, which it was. And then it bounced back higher and it was stronger. The economy is going to collapse in 2 weeks. Didn't. They kicked them out of SWIFT. Nothing happened. Oh, we're going to put an embargo on their oil. We're going to put price cap. We're going to wane away from gas. All that. There's a big world out there, my friends. And the world is not in Europe, United States, Australia, in Canada, and New Zealand. That's not the entire world, my friends. There's more than that. But these guys really deluded in their heads. They thought that, hey, without us, you're going to die. It's like a girlfriend who leaves you and says, you're going to die if I leave you. You're going to call me back. You're going to come begging. Without me, you'll be nothing. And like, shit, you're one. Look how many are over there. Or you think I cannot do anything about it because I'm so valuable. There you have it. The same, these guys. That's a narcissistic point of view. You think that if I leave, you're going to die. The same. If we're going to impose sanctions on you, Russia, you're going to die. Not even that. So let's go back here. Plus, the technology underpinning armed forces today is more advanced than ever, which means militaries require fewer people and machineries for a war effort. Now, it says settling banks with no debt could do the same, and both options in turn could harm Vladimir Putin's political aims. To be sure, the war has resulted in widespread sanctions that have reshaped global oil flows and trade. The Europeans shot themselves in the foot, I translated that for you, and cut into Russia's energy supremacy. What? They sell more energy now than ever to India, to China, and many other countries. What are you talking about? Western nations have barred or boycotted Russian commodities, which has pushed Moscow to seek alternative destinations for its oil and other goods. And I would add, successfully, my friends. So yeah, it was a guy before. He was the ambassador to where exactly that was. I can't remember exactly. I think to Great Britain. He said, in an interview with BBC, he said, Russia did not even start fighting the war in Ukraine seriously. That's what he said. About 4 or 5 days ago, I made a video on that. But I've been saying that Russia doesn't fight but 5% of its potential from the almost beginning. When I saw how much money, how many resources, human resources, how many guns, what they use, and how. Nah, it couldn't. If they really want, they can go over Red Rover. But they don't want to, because they're going to disrupt the whole economic system. Why do you think the Russians are not in the street? Because these guys thought we're going to create a situation in Moscow that people over there will not have food, electricity, will pay a lot, will lose their jobs, and then what are they going to do? Going to go outside, not going to support the war, and we're going to topple, it's called the color revolution, right? Putin. It didn't happen that way. Why? Because the Russians are not idiots. But these guys thought that they're geniuses. Now you have the geniuses here with inflation skyrocketing, not having energy, mass demonstrations in Europe. Have you seen mass demonstrations in Moscow? I haven't. And besides, you know what Putin's approval rating is? Come on. I covered that on a few videos so far. In the 80s. Last time I covered it was like 83% approval rating. Well, they're fudged. Okay, I can't win with you now. Anyway, 83 by Statista, not by the Russians. Check it out. See over there. What are the Putin's approval ratings? And use Statista, because that's going to be the first one who's going to come as an offer. At least it comes to me. And you're going to find out. And then put Biden. You're going to get to 38%. You go and get Macron to about 21. You go and get Scholz about 21. You go and get the Japanese Prime Minister about 21. and you get Orban about, I don't know, 70, do that, and you're going to find out. I wonder how these tyrants are having more popularity with their nations than the democratic systems. Is it because something switched here in a way that they are not over there here for us, but for them? Not for them. They are not here for us. They are over there for them. And you know who they are? They are? Look who's profiting. Jesus Christ. Cheers. Noroc. That means good luck in Romanian. So, celebration. Not. It was obvious. Easy. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.